That wasn't 3 plugins, that was 1. And I didn't code any of them. Hi, I'm Leo from Artists in DSP, and we just built something that I honestly didn't think was possible. It's an audio plugin that can be turned into any audio effect or MIDI instrument you want, just by describing it. Here's the thing about plugins. They are static. You buy a reverb, you get that reverb. You want a different algorithm? That's another plugin. If you are a developer, the cycle is brutal. An idea is followed by months of coding, then there's the release, and immediately think of 10 better ideas you don't have time to build because you're already working on the next thing. There are basically infinite good DSP ideas out there, and it's literally impossible to make a dedicated plugin for all of them. One day we got emailed from a user called 60Hz. He said,
I have a challenge for you, and I'm sure this will come in the future, but maybe you can be the first to accomplish it. Poly and Endless have just been released, and this is a genius idea, but too bad, it is only for hardware right now. So if you can make it work for VST3, I'm sure it will have a huge ROI for you.
Poly and Endless is a customizable hardware effect platform. You can create or download huge range of effects, and its most interesting feature is the prompt system, an AI playground where you can generate effects by describing them. But there are limits. It's hardware, it's focused on guitar processing, no MIDI instruments, no deep DAW automation, no session recall, and no complex routing. 60Hz was right. Doing something like this as a VST could actually change how we build and use plugins. The problem is VSTs are compiled. You can't just rewrite the DSP code while the plugin is running. If you try, you crash the DAW instantly. And running AI directly inside a plugin would require server infrastructure and subscription models, something that we really want to avoid. So for a while, I honestly thought this was a hard limitation of audio software. Great idea, but impossible in practice. Eventually, we started pulling things apart. Looking at how real-time audio threads work, how compilers handle DSP, how you could safely swap algorithms without touching the audio thread itself. After lots of trials and errors, we eventually got a first working prototype running. A controlled DSP sandbox that can safely compile and swap algorithms in milliseconds without crushing the host. And once I saw what it could do, I knew I had to show it. This is Amorph. It looks like a normal plugin, because in this mode it is. But if I click this button, we go into lab mode. This is the workshop, the code editor, and the setup. And here's the important part. You don't have to code to use Amorph. The workflow is simple. Amorph gives you a prompt. You describe what you want to an LLM, paste the result back here, hit compile. That's it. Now, if you do want to go deeper, the language in this editor is C major, a DSP language made for audio. It's built around a straightforward idea. A processor, audio input and output, and parameters with all the parameters that you can define with the ranges and names that becomes your real knobs in the user interface. So to create a new instrument inside Amorph, first I name it and define the controls I want on the screen. I am going to set the parameters count to 0, so the code will define the knobs using annotations, and the AI will generate those annotations for us. I click AI prompt. That copies a ready-to-use prompt with a parameter map and the rules Amorph expects. Now it's time to open a LLM. You can use Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever you want. You just paste the prompt and describe the instrument you want. Let's create something quite challenging, a warm arpeggiated polysynth that locks with the DAW tempo. I prepared already a detailed prompt for the parameters I want to have. I really suggest to be detailed if you want a good sounding result. A quick note, we keep the AI outside of the plugin right now on purpose, so you can use whatever model you like and you stay in control. Once the language model generated the code, you can paste it back into Amorph. Then hit compile. If all went good, you can read in the logger that it compiled successfully. If not, you can just copy the error and give it a second try. In my case, we are done, the algorithm is running, and Amorph has become that instrument. Now, let's listen how it sounds. Now here's a huge part of the workflow, the presets. At the top level, Amorph presets are the entire algorithm. So that's the code, the knob names, and the whole device. Think of it like building your own personal rack of synth and effect inside one plugin. And inside each algorithm, you can also save parameter snapshots. Those don't change the code, they just recall the knob state instantly. Does it work perfectly every time? No. Sometimes the AI can generate code that doesn't compile. Maybe a parameter range is wrong, maybe the math is off. When that happens, you see it in the logger. You copy the error or the behavior, you paste it back into the AI and say, fix this. In most cases, 1 or 2 iterations and it's solid. So right now the plugin supports MIDI input and audio, mono and stereo. That means that everything in between, audio effects, MIDI instruments and weird hybrids can be created. Since building this, I personally have already created around 30 different plugins. And some are quite simple, like basic filters, basic synthesizers, and some are very not simple. We even took some ideas from the community and tried to regenerate some plugins like vinyl scratchers, real-time scrubbers. And the interesting part of this, I'm building plugins I would never have bothered making before. Because when something takes 5 minutes instead of weeks, suddenly a lot more ideas become worth trying. But let's talk about what this can't do, because there are some limitations. First of all, the UI is simple right now, it's knobs and readouts, no fancy graphics or custom visualizers. Sound comes first, that's the goal. Visual customization could come later if there's demand, but it's not the priority. Second, this plugin isn't made for running machine learning models or loading massive sample libraries. It's focused on digital signal processing, filters, modulations, synthesis, time-based effects and also MIDI synthesizers. But you really cannot generate sample-based processing, at least yet. It's not made for this. If not coding by yourself and relying only on AIs, you also need to be somehow specific about what you ask for. If you ask the AI for a filter that sounds good, you'll probably get something unusable. If you ask for a stable variable filter with 12 dB per octave with resonance, you'll get exactly that. And if you're new to audio, that's fine too. We already have good presets, and the idea is that presets will be shared by the community. So even without deep technical knowledge, you'll still be able to explore, tweak and learn from what others build. You're probably wondering how much this will cost. We talked about it a lot as a team and we all agreed on one thing. We're going to release it for free. We don't want to limit creativity. We want everyone to be able to use it, experiment with it, and create amazing and probably weird stuff with it. Right now we're finishing some refinements, and after that we'll open it up as an open beta. If you want early access, the link is in the description. So here's what I want to know. What would you build if you could describe it in one sentence and have it running in 2 minutes? I don't know if this is the future of plugins, but it's definitely a future. And I want to see how far we can push it.